All right, we're live. Excellent. Welcome to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk, episode 48. How's everybody doing? Had a little bit of a late start tonight. My apologies. It's kind of dealing with some computer issues here. I'm on a buddy's laptop that I was promised was going to be working, and just quite frankly sat here stagnant for 25 minutes while I was trying to install the device driver, so that's cool. But welcome. We got a great show tonight for you. Different backdrop behind me. I'll try to cover up the weird stuff in the background that I definitely didn't decorate the walls with. Per usual, we have Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor. How's it going tonight?
Just splendid. Watching the is that, do we call that a near now?
Yeah, it's getting trimmed tomorrow, so it'll be back to
it looks awesome, dude.
Beard or something. The mustache is getting kind of long, so I can almost give it a curl. I don't know if I want to go that far, but
well, this is crypto, so you got to be unique. What the hell?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I gotta, stand out from the crowd somehow here.
There you are. All right. So I was telling you guys before, my computer is a little unhappy here, and it's giving me a message. I may have to drop out here and pop back in.
Yeah, worst case, Brian, all you gotta do is reboot, and then you can drop back in pretty quickly without issue. But if anything bad happens, I mean.
Yeah. Hi everybody. I'll try and get my computer. I'll be right back, but I'm sure Alex and Will will be more than happy to entertain you while I'm gone. So I'll talk to you in a moment.
Oh, okay.
All right, Alex, entertain us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just got word that Ubic is on our second exchange now, like literally just this instant. We're on Cryptopia now. So yeah, 2 exchanges. We're trying to be a more distributed coin, so that includes the exchanges as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff.
Cryptopia volume's been going way up. And if I can be honest, we've been getting a lot of requests for Cryptopia support. So that's kind of a testament. I don't know anybody from Cryptopia, and I don't really know what they're about other than there's a zillion markets. And kind of recently, we've been trying to hone in. Obviously, it takes up back-end resources for us to support exchanges as far as Coinigy is concerned. So we did limit it to BTC pairs, meaning alt to BTC pairs, because they're kind of like an any-to-any exchange.
Yeah.
That might change in the future, though, to be honest, because we are looking at doing the private API integration, which means there's certain markets on there that actually have volume. I can't remember specifically which ones, but there's a few that really weird markets that just so happen to have volume.
Yeah, like we used to have Jumbucks on there too, and there was like 5 different pairs. I think there was Litecoin, another one was Unobtainium, which actually had a fair bit of buy support. So it's kind of interesting that there are pairs that actually have some fairly reasonable thickness to the books. But yeah, in terms of like volume across all the pairings, I can understand why you're only sticking to the Bitcoin ones. I think.
Yeah, I think it was actually Jesse Couch, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in our Slack, and actually he made a really valid point as far as using LTC as the quote currency, which is you have some of these altcoins that are trading at like 7 sats, and Litecoin as the quote currency is actually, it makes sense, because it's just a lower denominator essentially. So
you get more like resolution or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You can make a little bit of money off of going up a few sats versus Litecoin as opposed to Bitcoin, where it might take a little bit more volume in order to go up a couple sats.
Yeah, and if you want to do the extreme of that, you could even do like Doge pairings. But yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, let's not get crazy.
Litecoin makes sense because you got a lot more light Toshis, I think you call them, for like your pricing.
Is that really what it's called?
That's what I'm calling it.
Oh man.
So
news to you.
Well, you guys are planning on launching an exchange, I guess, sometime this year, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So are you going to be doing like a lot of pairings, or are you just going to kind of stick to a couple of the mainstream ones, or what's the plan?
All right. So initially, at least, trying to stick to some of the higher volume pairings. I was going to reach out to you guys as far as UBIC because obviously good community, good support. JYap's a cool guy. And, obviously I know you guys. So we were going to reach out to you guys about that. We're not at that point yet. It's still kind of to be determined. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna dip our toes in kind of slowly, and we'll kind of play it by ear. Obviously there's a lot of stuff that goes along with it, so we're kind of worried about Ethereum and ETC and all that fun stuff. And one other thing too, as far as kind of dealing with like BTC USD, or at least an equivalent, we were looking at kind of using Tether as opposed to fiat USD initially, and it looks like they don't support wallets in Wisconsin, which is where we're based, and we're going to do everything as legit as we possibly can. So we did just reach out to them to see what the status is and why it's not allowed in Wisconsin and
so
jurisdiction.
Tether isn't permissionless, like you actually have to have like.
Well, let me put it this way. If you try to create a Tether wallet and they geolocate you in Wisconsin, it just says, sorry, no access.
Oh.
And then you click a link and it says, hey, by the way, we don't allow Tether wallets in these 7 states. I mean, I understand, they're dealing with kind of this crazy legal system, as we kind of now are as well. But yeah. Hey, Brian.
Hi. I have no idea whether this computer is going to be happy through tonight, but we'll just try our best.
Yeah, we always get along just fine. We've had worse technical difficulties before.
Okay.
Oh, man. Well, you definitely got to turn the music down now.
Yeah, somebody's got the music.
Hey, Ty. Let's turn some music down there, buddy.
Not that we don't like the background noise. It's just I really don't want you to get flagged.
Yeah, he's rocking out to Rihanna, so we don't.
Oh, it's all good. So, any other Coinigy news, like updates? What have you guys been working on the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, we have a few things. So most recently, we made an update to the alerts tab. Those of you who are Coinigy users, basically, you can now actually assign sounds to your alerts, kind of on a one-by-one basis. You can now view your alert history under one tab, as well as filter the alerts. That's just one thing that people were complaining about, essentially being kind of annoying. So you can also basically see the all-time high for like all-time versus monthly versus weekly and that kind of thing too, and set alerts right off the bat there. And yeah, that's about it for us. Just working on back-end improvements mostly. So.
Cool. How's the screener tools coming?
They're getting closer to being realized, Brian.
Awesome. I mean, especially with the new altcoin season coming up here.
Yeah,
things are starting to come alive.
Yeah,
it's very close to actually starting to be realized. Let me put it that way.
That'd be awesome. We can get like volume
breakouts through all the updates and bug fixes and just all the dirty stuff. And very soon we'll be finally working on some of the bells and whistles. So
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It seems like on Monday, just everything started getting a lot of volume, like all at once. And then I got a bunch of emails from different coins on like releases and stuff. I know Storage has got some stuff coming out, and there's a couple other coins that are actually ditched this week. So it's kind of interesting how it all kind of coordinated at once.
Yeah, so somebody tweeted Poloniex. I think they had like 17,000 concurrent users, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was on their site earlier, and there was like 13,000 people on the site at once.
Yeah, it's nuts.
You've got like a little,
sign.
You've got like a little running tab, and also, of course, I think, I think Bill's looking at Polo, going, "Fuck, man, there's a lot of business that we're letting slip," and so now they're starting to. Okay.
Well, like,
I mean, for sure. I mean, as far as like our altcoin exchange, I mean, there's no way we're ever gonna compete with Polo, but you know, it's nice to have another option out there, you know.
Well, I disagree. I mean, Polo started out at day one somewhere, right? Really, all that matters is just build a reliable platform that people can trust you, and,
yeah,
and people will come, right? So
that's the thing with exchanges. You guys kind of you succeed by not failing.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
All you got to do is survive, and just don't fucking steal the people's money.
Yeah, we were doing some benchmarking earlier today. Actually, Byron was just going crazy and cranking it up on our WebSocket server, and it's looking pretty good. We're kind of using Polo's live numbers as a cornerstone, I guess you could say, and you know, trying to hone things in and surpass that. So things are looking good so far.
Fingers crossed. I mean, slow and steady wins the race, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting to see that Bitterx was announcing, and probably Alex could mention that they're sort of trying to get in on the margin game too, right?
Yeah, that's part of their they've been wanting to launch the version 2 of their site since probably like September, but I don't know, lots of little things, like both on the legal framework side and then also on the actual coding side. So they're hoping to do something very similar to what Bitfinex has, but for altcoins. So if you have
like a peer-to-peer lending kind of platform.
Yeah, from what Bill's explained to me, if like your balance isn't in any active orders, you could actually earn interest on it because it's going to be loaned for margin trades. So I'm not sure how that works exactly in function, but it just kind of it's a way to actually, like, you want to have coins on the site because then you're constantly earning interest on them.
Well, I mean, if you could just give him some feedback, I think it would be important to let the users have the option to opt into that or opt out. Because frankly speaking, I would probably want to opt out of that just because I don't want my coins to go anywhere. I want to know that my coins are right there. But anyway, that's just me. So.
Yeah, again, I think there's a lot of just actual functionality that I don't know the details on per se, but that's kind of how I explained it, how it would work in essence. So the actual like final product will probably be, you know, something you can opt into. You need to have a verified account. The coin would actually have to have a substantial amount of margin. So only probably like Ethereum would probably be margin trading to start with, and then as other coins start building up regular volume within the thousands, then they would have margin enabled. So it sounds like it's going to be very dynamic. Like margin will be enabled and disabled on the different platforms. But I'm really curious of, like, if I have a bunch of my coins that are loaned out and I withdraw, does that mean like lending rates go through the roof and then everyone gets margin called?
Could be.
Like there's a lot that I'm really curious to find out when they actually get it going.
Well, and also too, when we go through one of these face rips, right, and a whole bunch of people are caught offside, how does that affect you if you're actually in that, you know, lending those coins out and stuff?
Yeah.
So anyway, really interesting developments, and it's good to see this community just slowly evolving and building itself out, getting more credible by the day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, you know, one could argue that the SEC just basically bitch slapped Bitcoin there.
Oh yeah.
And frankly speaking, you know, if you actually look at the data and you look at the trading, I think they make a perfectly valid case. I still think Bitcoin needs a bit of growing up to do before it can be like listed on a New York Stock Exchange. And to a certain degree, you know, I kind of think that the crypto community, they don't really want Bitcoin to be like a gold ETF. I don't think that's
definitely a thing. Yeah. They were going for a rule change too, which, from what I understand, that's pretty hard to come by just in general. So,
I mean, I'm sure the Winklevosses will just keep banging away, and I do understand there are a couple other guys out there. Actually, it'd be really interesting to see how that GBTC acted following that ruling. I bet you those guys are like, rock on, we can go and fuck with the market again. You know, you saw that silly GBTC was like at like $150, which meant that Bitcoin was at $1,500, and of course Bitcoin was never there. So, I mean, geez, some of the activity these guys on the over-the-counter market, it's almost criminal what they do. But anyway, that's just the way the market is. Let's see. So we had the ETF, and actually, it's interesting. I mean, you guys tell me, what are the fundamental catalysts that Bitcoin has now going forward? We got SegWit, right? And that's down the road. And then there's also this Bitcoin Unlimited debate going on right now, right?
Yeah, from what my short amount of twittering today, I saw some people basically saying that SegWit has won already. I don't know if that's any validity or
what happened just in the past, I think 24 hours. There was a fatal error in the Bitcoin Unlimited nodes, which caused them all to like start crashing. So I think like 70 or 80% of them all just went offline at once. Which if we were running that as like the main network, would have been catastrophic. It would not have been good. Like we was been limping along, but it would not have been a good day. So now if you look at the entire like spectrum of what wallets are running, Core is like 88% of it now. So like that's why they're saying we won, but you know it's just kind of like there's less of a pool to distribute it, right? But a lot of those.
Is Bitcoin Unlimited? Is that there's one guy, and I always forget the characters' names in this space. I'm sorry, but there's one guy that has been sort of like in the thorn of Bitcoin's side for quite a while. Is that guy?
That's Roger Ver, aka Bitcoin Jesus, but I call him Bitcoin Moses because he seems to want to split Bitcoin.
Part the seas.
Oh yeah, exactly. And he is rumored to be the number one, or I guess number two Bitcoin holder after Satoshi. So like he got in really early on and invested a lot of money when Bitcoin was like, I think less than $1, and he pumped the price to like $3. So he probably does have a lot of that. I would say he probably has some, fuck off money, and he uses it right now to, I think, influence Bitcoin a lot. Like he owns Bitcoin.com. He runs the other Bitcoin subreddit, and there's tons of advertising out there that's all paid for by him, and it's meant to promote his, I guess, agenda, which is to upgrade Bitcoin through a hard fork.
Wow. Oh wow. Well, only time will tell.
The other subreddit.
Yeah.
Somebody has to say it, but
yeah. No, and this is the thing. This is almost like a political battle. Like people want to knock down Bitcoin Unlimited and say, like it will never fail. But at the same time, it's like, do not underestimate it. Things can always happen. We saw that in the U.S. elections, and we'll probably see that in Bitcoin. We'll get caught off guard by it if we don't take it seriously, because we joked about it on a previous show. Like SegWit is the Hillary Clinton of Bitcoin protocols. It's like everyone wanted it, and then when it came down to actually voting for it, we have like 26% for it.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting analogy. Okay, I have to remember that one.
But yeah, I think it's been fairly exciting, and it just shows that there's a lot more dialogue, I think, going on for like lots of people want to improve Bitcoin. It's just right now there's not a lot of consensus on how to do it.
So do you think the demise of Unlimited will sort of stabilize things here a little bit?
Maybe. I'll also mention that Unlimited is not the first attempt by Roger Ver. I think there was Classic and what was the other one? This is the third attempt by him. So who knows? Maybe like Unlimited will fade away, and then it'll be a new version of the protocol. And they all come down to the same thing of they want to do a hard fork, which at this stage in Bitcoin's life is very risky because you're basically forcing everyone to upgrade. Where SegWit, you can upgrade and you can get a whole lot of new features, but your old software will still be compatible.
Right, and not only forcing everyone to upgrade, it's also all the systems and businesses built on top of it. I mean, it's going to cause just so many issues potentially.
It's far more risk. Let's put it that way.
But and also too, I remember I had one site member who used to always say this, that the fork would be such a horrible precedent. If Bitcoin can survive fork talk, then it sort of stays in its original sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of the concept. As soon as you can fork it once, then there's no reason why you can't fork it again and again and again and again, right? And if anything, isn't that sort of what Ethereum's kind of going through right now with its sort of identity crisis?
Yeah, I mean the ETC thing, ultimately we still really haven't seen a resolution there. I mean, they're both listed on all these exchanges, and it just casts doubt on kind of the legitimacy of both of them at this point. So I'd rather not have that with Bitcoin at this point too.
Ethereum sure is going for it right now, eh? Actually, I wouldn't mind asking Alex. Do you remember when? Oh boy, here's another name I've forgotten.
Vitalik.
Vitalik. There we go. You remember when he said that he didn't like the price of his coin as high as it was? Do you think that that's coming into his mind now?
That was one of the other developers, Vlad Zamfir, and
so it wasn't Voltic himself.
It wasn't Vitalik himself. No, it was Vlad.
I think I better write these names down, eh?
Voltron.
No, it was the other Russian. Vlad mentioned he's in charge of like the next major upgrade of Ethereum, and judging by some of his tweets and articles he's putting out, he's cracking under pressure a little bit. Like, he's really worried that his next implementation is, we're talking like about a $2 billion network now that they want to upgrade with a hard fork. So it's like he is, the Bitcoin Unlimited team. Like, and he doesn't like that, connotation, but like that's the kind of the weight that's on his shoulders, and he's having a hard time with it. But at the same time, like, he's very honest with his concerns, which I think is very important. Like he says, I don't like that the coin is so expensive, because it shows that people are looking at this much more as an investment rather than, like a technical innovation. Like, it's kind of like SpaceX, Elon Musk's company. It's not publicly traded, and he said, I'd never wanted to be publicly traded, because if you have a rocket blow up on the launch pad, like, your stock's going to crash, and that doesn't really justify the means for the company or the value of the company. Like, the company is still going to be worth a lot. It's just everybody looks at an explosion as a huge market event, when really you're not talking about a marketable company. You're talking about like a scientific company.
Yeah.
Right. That's a really good analogy. And in a lot of ways, Bitcoin kind of suffers from that as well. I mean,
I think so. We, are just over the period of 2016, all of our major rallies have been based off of what we are considering sort of events that happen in the marketplace. And you see wild price swings around these events, and yet they really don't have anything to do with the actual Bitcoin story. So, that is actually a very, I'm thinking about like the U.S. Marshal Office's auction. I mean, does that really make any difference to the Bitcoin protocol? Not really. And yet the market totally pivoted through that event.
Right, and that one's only like from an inflationary perspective, meaning, these coins are now, you now know that somebody else has them in their hands, and they're probably going to sell them at some point. But I will say the ETF, that major drop and then the recovery is pretty interesting. How resilient it was. I don't know if it's a sign that we're going to 5,000 anytime soon, or if it's just kind of everybody just waiting it out to dump their coins next year, or
Well, now that we have like the official kind of news or whatever, it could be the market is holding a position for the market makers to kind of fill whatever order they want to take us to next. Like, if there could be loading up shorts right now, and then they don't want to crash the market just yet because they're not full.
Right, and there is, and this gets back to what the SEC kind of talks about. We do a daily show on the site, and we've been talking about this repeatedly. I look at the OKCoin forwards markets, and I don't know whether the audience is aware, but this Friday, day after tomorrow, they list a new 3-month contract. And so a big part of me is wondering whether price is being finessed into that event. I know we don't like to admit it, and we don't want to make this part of our thinking, but we do need to understand, and I think it's important for the audience to understand, that there are participants that can push Bitcoin's price around. And if they can push the price around to their benefit, I believe that they will. So to a certain degree, I kind of agree with you, Alex. Until we see a new high, I have to be just thinking that this is a trading range, and they've carved out a very wide range. And all we're doing right now is just bumping up. Ironically enough, we're actually bumping up to where we had a previous top before the ETF news event happened. So, like the old saying, show me a new high and I'll show you a buy. So until that event, I have to be cautious. And in fact, actually, I got a bunch of hedges on right now. And frankly speaking, I don't think there's anything wrong with just hedging at about $1,200–1,300 a Bitcoin. A little bit of your portfolio just to cover your ass, just in case things do break here. So, whoop, I just lost Alex's screen. I don't know whether you can see me. Okay, so what's Alex showing us here? He's showing
This is on OKCoin. If you look in their charts tabs, they have open futures contracts, and you can see that it's on a bit of a downtrend here. I only have, I think, the last 12 hours. Yeah, so, but normally you can also, there's a couple Twitter bots that tweet out when these top holders are increasing or decreasing their position. So it's kind of good to know that like the top holder is, loading up on some more contracts, because after we had that Bank of China inspection, it looked like the #1 holder was over half of the futures market. So I'm wondering if that was someone internal to OKCoin trying to keep liquidity in the market. But after this event now, they basically kind of flushed out all of their positions. So they've really loaded it down a bit. And yeah, there's a couple good charts here, but for the most part, you can see.
I would also say too, though, understanding that this 3-month contract is rolling out this week, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of participants, that last chart that you had up there, a lot of participants are just, they're rolling out of this. And what I often find is when OKCoin lists a new 3-month contract, usually it has a big spike right on the listing event. And all the guys, on that spike, they all go and strap on those short hedges.
That's very true, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen here.
Because if we look at the dates of what the contracts are now, let's see, we have the 17th, the 24th, and the 31st. So that means we have the 3-month is actually a 3-week right now. So
yeah, it'll turn into the 2-week contract on Friday.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, no, we'll see some activity this week for sure.
As well too, if we just and I suppose we could throw that chart on here on my screen. You have it's like OKCoin futures here. Actually, and this is really telling. I find this is there's a whole story just in this chart alone. But if I pop on over here,
I think you still got to share your screen, Brian.
Yeah, I know. You don't like looking at my pretty pit mug?
Oh, it's okay.
All right. Hopefully you can see my price chart here.
Yep.
And this is interesting. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at here. This actually looks a little different than what I was expecting. But it was interesting on this spike here, on the Phoenix and all the cash markets, they took them to new highs, but you can see they didn't here on this. And there's, on OKCoin, there is that crazy ass wick and tail range there. And, sort of my feeling is, for whatever it's worth, that basically there's your top end of the range for now. And there's the bottom end of the range. Little concerned, if I go look on Phoenix, this bounce off of these lows has been straight up, not even the slightest give back. That's usually not sustainable, right? And now you guys hopefully can see we got a bit of an air pocket just sitting down in here. So like I said, on Friday, I'm kind of thinking that they're going to bump it up into this area. I don't know whether they can take the contract to new highs. This is a lot of resistance up here. But on Friday after that event, I just can't think of what is the next fundamental driver that this thing is going to move into. because Bitcoin loves to either rally into or tank away from these fundamental events, and I just can't think of anything over the next couple months.
Yeah, like unless we see some real like volatile action in other markets, like whatever you're denominating Bitcoin in, there's not a whole lot driving the whatever the fundamental value of Bitcoin is. Like this pattern that we're drawing here on all the Chinese exchanges looks very similar to what we saw in November of last year. Like it's kind of like we're not able to break a new high, but we're kind of at the top of these candle bodies and we're just breaking down. And
yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe we see kind of a similar action to that. Yeah. Good observation, right? And if we're lucky and the market's relatively happy, we just go sideways for 4 or 5 months. We just sort of backfill all of this, and then we can set up the next leg higher. But for the time being, I'm still very much thinking that we have to resolve the range following this big fundamental event before I can get all rah bull again here just yet. And what the hell? If we sit here at between $1,000 and $1,300 a Bitcoin, what's our altcoins going to do? Holy shit.
Yeah.
The audience, it's worth just paying attention, just noting. This is getting ridiculous. I mean, this is nuts.
What are you at there now?
We're
almost at 8 now?
No, we're just underneath 13,000.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, we started with like $530. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, old lady's doing well. She's going to have a big inheritance for her kids.
So, it's worth a tout. I mean, it's just after a while, you're just like gobsmacked. And of course, today, with the way the market acted, everything just launched higher. And actually, it doesn't show in here. The system hasn't updated, but on my, I'd load it, but my browsers are all unhappy. But I shilled out a whole bunch of Dash today. We hit one of Amanda's department store levels, so that was a sell level for me. So boom, out it goes. And this XZC, all the Zcoin stock coins are starting to rally.
Yep.
And people on the site, oh my God, in fact, I haven't seen this kind of environment since last summer. But people are, and I just love this about our site. I mean, people are like, woo, I got a double, it's just fucking awesome, man. It's just
banging out doubles trending on Twitter.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I know alts are dead isn't trending.
They don't publicly announce their wins. Actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea for maybe us to do that. But I'm the only one that does it. And I found actually middle of last year, because I just kept ripping them out, people were like, oh God, I'm so sick. And some guy was like, I am going to take a shot of acid every time Brian bangs a tweet. I was like, the haters are coming out in full force.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't really been touting too many of our winners lately, but long and short of it is just business as usual.
Just keep it on the DL. Let the haters.
And then the bottom line here is the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, this is just nuts. And frankly speaking, I don't know where the top is. I mean, we own 144 different bloody of these coins, right? And it's like the flavor of the month. You never know who's going to be moving. And, I think I told you in the last show, I mean, I've just been buying all the way along here. Some coins I bought, like this, what's one that I bought, this I think PXI. There's a couple that Bitrex might delist. It's part of my business model. I'm more than happy to take that risk because, of course, when they go nuts, the rewards are ridiculous. So. But anyway, long and short of it here is, we could be in for one hell of a summer here. This could just be crazy. So anyway, it should be lots of fun.
Yeah. Well, I got a wheel loaded up here. And,
I suppose should we get on with I mean, have we done Bitcoin enough justice here? I mean, I think everybody in the audience should understand where I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Show me a new high. Just break it up through the top, and we'll all get all Super Bowl again. But for the time being, I think we're ranging.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, let's see what else we can buy while we're in that range.
Sure. Okay, while you spin the wheel, I'm going to fill my coffee up. I'll be right back.
All right, round she goes. Wherever she stops, nobody knows. Oh, GNT. I don't know if that's on GNT. Or no, that was just added to Polo. Yeah. That's Golem.
What is GNT?
It's Golem. So it's basically. Have you ever heard of Greg?
This is Greg's favorite coin, eh?
Is it?
Can you see Greg rib him about?
Okay. That's quite.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, that's it opened up at 0.02 and then crashed. Not a whole lot of data for it.
Can't do a heck of a lot of TA here.
Yeah, it's only been on for probably 3 weeks, and even less, maybe 2.5. This was the recent ad by Polo. They did an ICO that sold out in like I don't know, 20 minutes, even less. It's an Ethereum token that is meant to be like an incentive for a supercomputing network. So if you want to, I don't know, crunch numbers for weather or something, you would buy Golem tokens, and then you could use the network resources that are on the Golem's network.
Okay, and do you know what that ICO price was?
Ooh, I'd have to look it up, but
that's really, this thing. Ethereum did the same damn thing. You guys remember? Came out of the gate, tanked, and came right down to really close to that ICO price and started to bottom.
They raised 820,000 ETH, which was 8.6 million at the time. So what we're at $30 ETH right now. So 820.
Can you use today's price though? Wouldn't you use the ICO price?
What do you mean?
Anyway, can you just ballpark it?
It's like 24.5 million. So it's about 3x right now.
So even at 21.33, it's still 3 times that price?
It's 3 times US dollar value, yeah.
Okay, so long and short of it here, we could still, unfortunately, have to swim a bit lower, right? Upside objectives, cute little gap right here. Do you guys see that? So, I'm looking at the lower time frames. Investors out there, you got no business looking at this thing from a technical analysis perspective. We just don't have enough data here to even come up with a realistic picture of what's going on, right? They're just, investors. You're just going to have to let this thing settle down and show where the bottom is. For the trading community, I don't mind the idea of you taking stabs if we start having setups, but if those setups fail, you better get the hell out of there. And I seem to recall when the thing tanked right out of the gate, I seem to recall talking to people about a potential trade in here, and I just simply said, if we lose these lows, look out, and sure enough, down she goes. As it stands right now, this is not really a W. This is more of a V bottom. So it sort of tells me it wants to rally back into resistance, and then, at some point, we really need to come down and test these lows again. I don't know whether that's a valid enough test. I think that we still need more exploration down here. But at the same time, like I said, if this thing can sort of clean itself up, where's resistance? I would really watch that candle peak right up in there. This little wick right up here looks like it needs addressing. Looks like there's a little bit of a gap. Can you guys see the gap? Oops, can you guys see the gap right here?
Yep.
It's kind of tough to see. In fact, this is a doji gap setup. Joby will love that. So the market dojied here and then gapped lower. So there's actually a little bit of a gap right in there, right in that candle. But also notice too, there's a little bit of gap right at the top of that wick right there. So I think those are probably levels to keep a close eye on. And then, like I said, especially off of the lows of these tails here and that gap there, that's probably a major resistance point. So, maybe we have things like AB equals CDs working here, which will go boobity boom. And if this consolidation low is the low, we just don't know right now, but it gives you sort of an upside objective. So that's going to come right up against these candle body highs right in there. Maybe eat that wick a little bit if it can. At that point, I would definitely be looking for some sort of pullback here to really test these lows in earnest.
Hey, Brian, why don't you check out the other pairing? You might find it interesting too, because
the GNT ETH?
Yes, because the pairing at ICO was one Ether was 1,000 golems, so it was 0.001 was the ICO price. And if you look at the daily, you can just see it's smashed through that ICO price, and it's going.
Yeah, this doesn't, and Ethereum's going nuts here right now, right?
Yeah.
So look at the selling volume. The selling volume is actually accelerating here. That's not a good sign.
Exactly.
So put it all together. I know, Greg, you really wanted this thing to bottom, but I just don't think it's there yet, Slick.
No, that's an interesting pairing to keep an eye on, though, because
and you really don't. You see this? This is like railroad tracks in here. There's a bit of a wick, but do you see that hard low there? The way that they closed that candle there and then opened it, you really wanted to see that level hold. The fact that it hasn't, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But Ethereum's going absolutely nuts right now, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's just a function of Golem's just sitting there picking its nose and Ethereum's going bananas, right?
Well, it's not really functional yet, so it's like everyone who's selling it or who bought it is selling it right now because they wanted a quick buck. The long-term investors are probably gonna be holding out for a while, but right now you want to get all those people who are looking for a quick buck. You want them to sell out, right? They're selling.
You want them gone, right?
Exactly. So
if anything, it's probably healthy to do that. And then, of course, that ICO level. Really just be patient if you are interested in the story and just wait for a nice W to come in. Right? It'll be pretty simple. It'll be very straightforward when we see this thing bottom. In fact, if we look at half of these other altcoins out there, you'll see the bottoms, right? But this guy, I just don't think he's there yet.
Mm-hmm. All right, next. Run, go.
Back to the wheel.
And another big one, Zcash. I'm hoping I got some mining contracts that I really need to talk about.
What's the symbol?
I think it's ZEC or ZEC, depending on your vernacular.
Yeah, you're Canadian. You're not allowed to say Z.
Nobody calls it Zcash.
You didn't like that one, eh?
Yeah. No one calls it Zcash though. That's the thing, right? So it's.
This must be American then, eh?
Oh yeah, it's an American, I believe.
All right. Well, same sort of thing, but interestingly enough, a little bit different picture from the volume perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I had one that just went nuts today, and frankly, I don't even know. I never did quite understand this, but you saw on that sheet I had XZC, and this thing is just rocking and rolling here. Are these related at all?
There's a good story behind this. So right now, okay, that's Z Classic. Which is essentially a copy of Zcoin or Zcash without having any pre-mine for the developers. So they're kind of like trying to be I don't know, that fair launch, all that jazz. But the original developers have abandoned it. But now there's actually some decent developers that have shown up, and they're planning on forking it. And so this coin probably won't die, or at least it's not like no one's trying to kill it, but they're going to fork the network to something new. So if you own this token, in theory, you're going to have an Ethereum and an Ethereum Classic situation in the near future. So you'll actually have like two tokens that will have value associated to them. So that's why I'm rallying now.
I'm on a free trade here, so that means I'm going to get double freed. Awesome.
Nothing wrong with that. You're going to get that new coin, and then you'll still have the old coin, which will still be trading on Bittrex. If the volume dies off, then the market will probably die too, but who knows? People do.
All right. So I just I didn't quite understand what was driving this, whether it was a vote on the Zcash story or whether it was something completely different. I'm hearing from you that it's something completely different, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So and for the record, we bought down in here and we made some really nice money here. So, but this little bad boy here, I don't actually own any of him. And really kind of the same thing as what we just saw out of the other one, that Golem. I think, out of the gate, And this is this crazy. I remember this. Remember some guy was running a bot and they ran it up to like 3,000. Do you remember that? And the bot was absolutely out of control. Was that this story? I think I remember it was this story, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was because they did slow start mining. So like
yeah,
it started
and
like
the prices were just absolutely stupid up here, eh?
Yeah.
Remember that?
That was the other thing that Z Classic didn't have was slow start. It basically just started with full-fledged mining. In essence, they were like, Zcash really screwed up on their mining. Like, look at that first candle. That's stupid. Nobody's going to take it seriously. So they tried to do everything right. And,
okay, well, here nor there. I mean, the irony, true irony of all this is we see so many of these do this.
Oh, yeah.
If this thing ever gets its act together, I know it sounds outlandish, but, there is a big honking wick sitting up there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see down the road. But, it's interesting if we look at things like Dash, right? It had a crazy listing, and the first candles and stuff were all over the place. Actually, that doesn't look right. Something's wrong there. Maybe it was Bittrex. Yeah, so, I mean, right out of the gate, it crashed. And I remember sitting here and people are going, oh, there's no way it's ever going to go back up to those levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you could just go through the list of them. I remember that XMR, same sort of thing, right? Right out of the gate. Actually, this one here is showing a rally, but and actually it's interesting. I wanted to mention this as a very similar scenario to that Dash and what these crazy things can do when they go parabolic like this. But anyway, let's get back to the coin that was actually asked about. Sorry about this.
Oh, yeah, that was
was it ZEC? No.
Yep, that's what it was. And I'm being told now that I'm mistaking. There's like 3 different coins using the Zero Coin protocol. And I mistake the other 2 for each other.
This is Zero Coin Classic X.
Yes.
Dash 437.
Oh, it's so hard to keep them all straight, but no, that's the other one, yeah.
So for whoever who's watching, I think on balance, you guys have heard me talk about saucer bottoms before. I could see a nice saucer bottom trying to form through here. That wouldn't surprise me. I do like the fact that the volume, unlike that other story, the volume is actually ramping up here. We probably go pull up the internals. They probably look half decent. Let's see what we got here. You can see Willie was nice and stupid through here. Ooh, beautiful double bottom in OBV through that bottom. And was that the end of the year? Oh, actually, that was even mid-February. That's not bad. Cute little OBVW, for all the level 1ers watching this, right? This is basically what we just did a couple weeks ago. Volume impetus is validating the W that you're seeing here in the OBV indicator. So on balance, looking relatively healthy. Do I have like real structural momentum, pound the table, this is the bottom? I'm kind of thinking again, this, just like that other coin that we looked at, it does look very V bottom-ish. So if anything, what I'm seeing is, momentum indicators were completely washed out. Volume started to come back off of these low levels. Cute little inside reversal there. Nice little, cute little double bottom right there. Do you go and buy this right here? I mean, the asset could go up. I mean, we saw what Ethereum did here. I didn't think it was a good idea to chase that thing today, but holy crap, it's continuing to rock and roll. Could this thing continue to go up here? Sure. I mean, fuck, it'll do anything it wants. Would I feel comfortable about buying at this level? Man, I don't think so. If anything, what I would prefer to do, and you probably know exactly what I'm going to say next, but maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if I was going to want to get in on this story, I would just do my little fib and draw my RLZinator. And really, it shouldn't surprise us that our reload long zone is simply going to be a testing of all these lows in here, right? And there's the original double bottom breakout. It's kind of a messy pattern, but nonetheless, there is the double bottom level. Probably the break of that high right there was what brought in all this buying interest. So if I was interested in participating in this story, I'd be working my stinky bids down in here. But, I think it's really important for the public that are watching the show. Some gentleman said, oh, Brian, is my stink bid on MUE going to get filled? You said you're working a stink bid at 20 sats. I don't know whether you've seen what a chart of MUE looks like. It's nowhere near 20 sats. So, you know, the audience needs to understand that just because this is where I would buy, that doesn't mean it has to come down here. In fact, we had one coin recently. I laid out all the reasons why I'd buy at this level, and I literally watched them bring the market right down to like 10 sats above my buy order, and then they just parked it. And they had absolutely no interest in giving me a fill at my level.
Did you show that one on the show, Brian?
I don't think we've talked about it. It was PKB. It was a pretty recent. It was one of these pumpers.
Yeah, it seems kind of familiar.
And
look at what it is.
Maybe you laid your cards out on the show and somebody
it could be,
knew it was going into the zone.
You know, half of my problem, and I, you know, a couple of years ago, I had to actually force myself to stop publicly announcing where my sell levels are. And now I only tweet after I get fills. And people are like, some people on Twitter are like, oh yeah, but you know, you that's in hindsight, that's great, right? But did you know that that was going to come? And did you have the orders working ahead of time? So I don't even do that now because it shows my hand. Mm-hmm. And so I'll only talk on Twitter after I've either bought or sold something. But, you know, hopefully you guys can see market structure, lows, key lows. I was working my bid down in here. They pumped it once and then brought it right down. Nope, we're not going to give you a fill, Brian. And then they pumped it again, right? And all the guys, you know, Alex, your buddy Alexander over in the Netherlands, right? Yeah. He was his group was just having a field day on this. And I said, look, I'll buy it at my level, but I'm not going to chase this thing. and so as a result, I didn't participate. It sucks, but that's just a trader's life. So anyway, I just wanted to make reference to that because, you know, this is where I would work my bid, but there's no fucking guarantees that it's going down there, right? But if I wanted to be a buyer, this is where I would want to be buying. Down already.
And just to clarify some things, well, I like your thesis of having a saucer bottom, Brian, because right now this coin produces $330,000 worth of coins per day, so it's still very heavy in terms of inflation. Yeah. And then the coin I was talking about before that's forking, that's the ticker is ZCL, Z Classic.
Oh, so it's not my coin that's I
don't know. You might have that one too, maybe.
There's a good chance Brian has it. Let's be honest here.
ZCL?
Yeah, he's a hoarder, you know. Like he'll have his own show on TLC soon.
Good thing these things are all you know, live in the ether, eh?
Oh yeah.
Like you put the camera on and you see Brian's all swimming in a pile of bitcoins and altcoins and stuff.
That's why Brian's computer's
it's a bunch of hard drives.
That's why Brian's computer's messing up. He's got all those wallets running. You know?
Oh yeah.
This is a good-looking chart. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is on the wheel too. This is one I'm working orders for as well. I already got a little bit of a fill, but I want more.
Yeah, I can't buy here, but I would totally work stink bids down and reload zones down here. Look at this OBV. Fuck me. That looks awesome. Look at this. Oh, right here. So all audience, right? Everybody get your notepads out, right? Here is the definition of a bullish momentum divergence. So we made new lows in price, but our momentum, hey, look at that. It's bid, somebody's bidding it up as we're talking about it here. But you can see Willie got, in fact, we just did this for the level oneers. I've got this one student, Sebastian. Oh my God, Sebastian, if you're watching this, I'm so proud of you. This guy's just fucking owning these setups. It's beautiful to watch him in action. But in essence, this is a textbook definition of a bullish momentum divergence. So can everybody, I mean, you guys, hopefully you can see this, but hopefully the audience can see this too. Let's move that up there. Right, so the market made a lower low, but your MACD indicator, the histogram, did not. And then the turn up through here was like, all right, boys and girls, strap on your seatbelts. So what I usually tell people to do is, all right, the divergence is in now. It's confirmed. Just hunt market structure. And can you see this cute little W that came in here? Just the prettiest little buy signal right in there. And the interesting thing is, if we do a good old Fibonacci off of those lows, what do you think the odds are reload zone is right in there? Look at that, eh? Oh, fuck me. Beautiful, right? So if I was going to be working stink bids, I would be more than happy to join these guys down in here.
And this chart will probably look like shit in a year's time if like it's going to be forked off to a new project. But like I said, the new project, you're if you own one coin here, you're gonna have one of that coin, and you'll still have this original coin.
Oh, look at these gaps!
Oh.
I mean, they're just, these are just basically just going, fill me, here I am, come get me.
Yeah, so we'll probably rally into that event. I would think so. Like those gaps seem like pretty easy pickings.
Yeah. So, and then I suppose if we do fibs, oh, actually, that's the ICO high. Like, I don't know what is ICO. I never get that terminology.
Yeah, no, this is just.
I remember a couple guys
listing.
a couple of years ago shit on me because I called something an ICO and it wasn't. So I have to be very careful when I use that.
You also say everything is if you trade it on margin, which is there's not a lot of margin trading.
By the way,
but
we also misrepresented anarchy in our last show. We had some YouTube comments.
I misrepresented anarchy?
Well, I think we all did, yeah. We had some interesting comments. Just check that out after the show.
All right.
So
well, hey,
sorry for interjecting. Back to your regular
watching the
schedule
show, no guarantees from the management here. Watch at your own discretion.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, there you go. So the point here is that what a coincidence. Can you guys see if we just draw a nice simple RLZ off of this range here, these gaps, one's basically sitting right at Mountain Man, one's sitting right at the line in the sand. I don't think that's an accident at all. And a year from now in crypto, who fucking knows what this chart's going to look like? It could look at a million times different. So yeah, this is, if anything, this is probably over the next month or two kind of idea. And then once this setup has played itself out, the story, in my eyes, is over. So, all right.
Let's get back to that crazy wheel, guys.
That's a good looking chart, though. That's a good looking chart.
That was something I've been watching a while and then decided to buy into.
Well, why don't you let me know that you're buying these damn things?
Oh, geez, Brian, I can't show all of my cards, right? Because then you tell your students, and then it just becomes a whole mess. Like,
all right.
Then Alex will have to get a cut.
Yeah.
We've talked about this one on the show before. ICN, Economy.
What's the symbol?
ICN.
ICM as in Mary?
N as in
Nancy.
This trades on Gate, Kraken, and Yobit.
Okay, let me interject here. So this goes back to something I've mentioned many times, which is damn altcoin developers stealing each other's symbols. So basically the ICN on Kraken is Economy, and the other two are iCoin or something like that. So we're trying to figure out a solution to handling this on Coinigy. As far as on, the dog's barking here. As far as on the back end. So if you click on that one, Brian, ICN XBT, so notice the exchange rate is like 0.00256. And then if you click on the Yobit one, it's like ridiculously lower. So we've gotten quite a few support tickets recently saying the exchange rate, because we do a weighted exchange rate on ICN and it's off. So just a heads up, we're trying to figure out a solution to anybody out there that's wondering what the heck is going on there.
Yeah, and your economy tab shows Economy as well.
Well, anyway you shake it, guys, there's big ugly M's working here.
Yeah.
So whatever these guys are doing, it's not working.
It's kind of like the lazy man's ICO. Like instead of researching and trying to time these like ICOs that sell out in minutes, it's like you buy this and they'll buy them for you. It's like if anything, they're I don't know, they're a fund in the space, and if they're completely public with what they're buying, in the end, I would think they'd lose, because the public would buy this to kind of not have to deal with buying ICOs,
Okay, and I seem to recall that these guys loaded up on a bunch of paper too, eh?
They owned a bunch of I think they bought the majority of Golem tokens, is what someone was saying.
Oh man, they're dying that death too, eh?
Yeah, But
did they take any profits, or is their mandate just to buy the ICO and hold on to it?
I'm not quite sure. Like, there's a couple fund managers. I'm gonna have to look more into it again, but I don't have a lot of interest in it because, like I say, it's kind of like the lazy man's coin. You know, it's like it seems like it's doomed to fail because.
Are you familiar with that clams?
Oh yeah.
So
we had a good joke about this last time, right?
Is clams like a kind of like a fund?
I don't know what it is exactly. All I know is there's some sort of burning thing. Like you can burn whatever token you want and receive clams for them. So in that way, that's why clams are valuable. But I don't understand what clams are used for. So why would you ever want to burn them or burn to get them?
Interesting. So, I thought that they held like a whole bunch of different coins, but maybe I'm totally mistaken there. I suppose one could argue, you know, I don't know whether we can use this candle because it's one of these zero print candles. Probably should go down to like a 4 hour or something to see what that low really was. Yeah, actually, so that was the lowest low there, right? I think on balance, you know, coming down into reload zones, coming down into support, I think it makes sense why the market hit these levels and then just spiked away. If you want to trade this, I think it makes sense. I don't like the fact that this was a V bottom here. So at some point, in my opinion, this low will probably have to be tested. If we look at the internals, you can see money is basically flowing out of this name. And I just don't see anything to get too excited about momentum-wise here. You can see our simple moving averages. They're in a very bearish stance right now. I don't see that changing at all either over the short term. I suppose, you know, it would be horrible trade location, but if we got a nice W to come in and the market actually got its butt back above here, then and maybe started to move up, I wouldn't have a problem working reload zone bids against these lows. But that's on the assumption that this thing does W. I suppose one could argue it came down, went up, came down, tested those lows, and did W here. So, you know, I don't really have a problem if you wanted to take a shot on this thing. But if you're going to trade this thing, and I suppose when I say leverage margin, what I'm really talking about is if you're risking more than 5% of your portfolio on any one kind of name, then you can't just be a bag holder, right? So if you put like 10% of your stake into this, then you can only risk 50% of that. If you break the 5% rule, you just got to walk away. It's a little dangerous playing that game with these altcoins because you could very easily see a 50% drop here. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And a lot of these coins, when you start getting down into the bottoms, 50% haircuts can become really, really easy. So that's sort of what I mean in reference to leverage margin trading. Just, you know, you're not taking a little old lady approach. I suppose little old lady approach, I wouldn't have a problem working stink bids off of the line in the sand here and just maybe add this name to your portfolio. But other than that, I don't see any reason to own this thing. And as it is right here, I don't really like this trade location.
What I'm just seeing from their blog is looks like they're going to have something launched in the next month or so, which I would assume means there's going to be like dividends or something paying, or I don't know, whatever their fund is hoping to do and provide value. But this is by no means an original idea. There's like 3 other ICOs here that are very similar in nature, which they're just kind of be like, I don't know, like S&P 500s for the crypto space.
You know, and the problem here is that they aren't a mutual fund.
Exactly.
So you're kind of taking a bit of a chance here, even believing the story, right? This is an unregulated marketplace. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen down the road?
Well, and this will never get listed on Bittrex if they're promising dividends because that makes it a security. So if the fact that Kraken listed it already surprises me. I don't know. There must be some ether whales that requested it or something, but it's yeah, anything that starts looking a lot like a stock starts worrying me a lot because that's when the SEC will come knocking, is when it's like you're doing things that are in their domain and they have rules for. And if you're a centralized platform, much like Coinigy is, they can come after them. They can take the funds.
And I heard in one of your shows, I heard somebody make a suggestion, and I thought it was just so brilliant. The guy said, "Look, if you're planning on getting into the space and you're planning on doing a coin, make the coin have some sort of utility. It actually is used for something. Because if you don't, then exactly like you said, Alex, Big Brother looks at this and says, well, all you're doing is trying to make money out of trading this thing." And kapow, right?
Yeah.
So I like that thinking.
Yeah.
And I think I've given you my technical 2 cents here. And it is interesting to see that as we worked our way down into this reload zone, you can see divergences were starting to build. But I just don't have enough confidence in the idea for me to actually go and start spending money. 87 million out, that's not too bad, but $27 million market cap,
Yeah, and
pretty damn rich.
What was it? They funded 10.6 million US dollars. So I'm wondering if this downtrend will continue to kind of match what their holdings are in terms of USD value, which could be just a lot of ether. I don't know.
But it's interesting because they do have this ether cross, right? And the picture looks even worse.
Yeah, no, like all these ether ICOs, people are cashing out of them to buy ether, and maybe that's why ether is becoming more valuable. Like that value is sloshing around now.
Yeah, the interesting thing with this, right? Maybe ether tops out, but you can see there's cheeky little gaps up here. So if this thing ever does get its act together and puts in W's and divergences, and we start seeing structure to justify, I think at some point it might work its way right back up here. But that's that's many moons down the road.
Right. I think we got time for one more coin.
Sure, one more.
I don't know. Is there really a time limit on this show? I don't know.
Yeah, whenever the alcohol runs out.
Or your patience in listening to my annoying
ETM. I'm not sure what this is. Why is it something out here?
What's the symbol?
ETM.
E. Edward Thomas Michael. And I'm not getting anything.
B as in Brian.
Oh, BTM. There it is on Polo.
Yeah, so it must be
the chart.
Bitmark. Okay. So this is I think like Polo's coin, which like you can tip in their chat and stuff, if my memory serves correct.
13,000 users. Maybe it's getting some traction.
Yeah, it had some recent
17,000.
Oh, yeah.
17,000. Beg your pardon.
And it's got a fairly good floor here, like looking at its age, and like, yeah, I like it.
All right, so viewers, you all know exactly where I'm going to go with this, right? Reload zones. You can't buy when we're up here. You can start thinking about buying here, but let's start seeing anecdotal evidence. Here comes the divergence, right? You can see, in fact, this is what we call a double divergence, super sexy. So at this point, let's start watching for signs of structure. It didn't really put anything solid. There's a cute little bottom that came in here, but that got flushed. Moving averages actually started to turn back up in here. I suppose you could argue, probably, yeah, Willie's nice and washed out here. Really, do you see this person right here? Whoever this guy was here, this guy sort of marked the floor in this thing right there. So what's the date of that? That is the 26th of February. 26th of February. So what happened on the 26th of February? Was there any sort of big development on Polo on the 26th of February?
Not sure.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway you shake it, right? That is that big pop. Actually, isn't that interesting? That's that doji right up there. So a very interesting pivot. And you can also imagine a lot of the noobs that bought up here, right, on this big day, they were thinking, woo, we're going to get rich, right? And they're all trapped now. So I suppose one could argue that, yeah, interesting. Do you see how this high here and this high here? So all the old trapped bulls that bought in here, they took this opportunity to clean things up.
Yep, a few of them. What does the earlier history look like on that, Brian? I don't know if you zoomed out all the way.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah. So in fact, we could probably even just take this right off of these original lows here, right? Something like that. So not a bad trade location. And really all you're going to be doing here is just riding on this guy's coattails. You can see how he launched OBV to new highs here. Momentum kind of looks wishy-washy. Let's see what we got here.
I'm just doing some Googling on it because it was my first time hearing of it.
Kind of trapped. You can see that momentum actually went into divergence on this move here. 200 period moving average, not a big surprise. It sort of acted as a brick wall. So I think for sort of the short term, people watching this coin, what's it going to do? What's it going to do? I think really we got just a nice comfortable trading range there. So, you know, right basically in the middle of the range. If I was, you know, wanting to be a buyer, I would probably take this range and just break it apart and start working bids. What do you think the odds are that this was a reload zone? I bet it was.
Pretty good.
Look at that, eh?
Spot on.
So it really shouldn't surprise us to see that the market basically came down, ate a bit of this tail in here. Cute little fractal right there. Rallied away from those lows. You could have done a reload zone off of this range, and that's what this candle tail is. That could have given you a sexy little fill there. And as I said, until this guy actually unwinds his position, this guy right here, whoever this big buyer was that came in through this period, I think it's pointing up. And it's interesting too that it's on this funny divergence, which sort of tells me that you know, kind of like Bitcoin with its crazy ass wick, you know, if we did reload zones, I suppose, off of this range right here, yeah, you can see that the reload short zone now is going to be nothing more than just a tag of that 200 period moving average. Come in, eat a bit of this wick. All the, you know, the late players, especially on Polo. Oh my God, it's crazy over there. You know, they're just going to be like, oh fuck, thank God it's back to break even. Just get me the hell out of here. So that's kind of what I see right now. If you see a further volume push here, then we could probably, you know, dissect this even more. Let's see, how do we do this? Like that. Yeah, so just watch the volume impetus. If we see the bulls or the green bars just trailing off here, that's not a good sign. If we see the red bars start to accelerate and get bigger, that's not a good sign. Ideally, if you're a bull, you want to see a nice buying bar, especially you wanted to see it above this bar. And that is, where the hell's that number? Why is the tool always right over exactly where you don't want it? That bar was, no, that's not it. 97,744. So we did here 97,463. So not quite a breakout, but here we did 129,000. So it broke that top. That's good. And really what you want to see if you're a bull is you just want to see higher highs and higher lows off of the green buying bars. That'll just tell you that the impetus, the push, is still up. If you start to see the volume go like this, then a test of this high, but it can't go up to a new high. And then here's the key with volume impetus. If you see a third test, and we actually get 3 lower highs in the green buying bars, that's why I said it was important to break this high. And then we dip down, then this fail right here will tell you that the bulls have gone to sleep. So right now the bulls are still, they've kind of said, hey, we're still here too. And right now, I would argue that the market is just waiting for, okay, who's going to step up here and resume control. And volume is actually a really good way to sort of watch who's in control. It's really interesting when that dash broke out. We had a situation like this where there was some big volume bars, and I put out a tweet saying, watch 44,500. And the market broke through that volume bar. Impetus was still pointing up. And, of course, we all know what happened to Dash here recently. So, you know, another little handy little lesson I hope our viewers can take from tonight's broadcast. And somebody just went and bought some. Way to go. I
love when that happens.
really like the trade location here, guys. I like working stink bids off of the lows. You know me, in reload zones. So just FYI to everybody watching.
I got a comment here, Brian, about your portfolio value. So if you bought $500 of Bitcoin at 250, and we're just holding on to that, you'd be at
250? No.
Yeah. What did you buy your Bitcoin at?
Yes, the Bitcoin at the time was $467. So that's why we wanted it to be about $500. So that's why we put 1 1/4 in there.
Okay. So that in today's value of just Bitcoin would be what? That's like almost $2,000, right?
Yeah. So I think we're slightly outperforming here.
Oh yeah, you got an extra 10 there.
Somebody came on the site the other day and said, Brian, does buy and hold Bitcoin or doing your little old lady? Which one does better? I'm kind of thinking that just buying and holding Bitcoin. And I was like, all right, let me tell you a story.
And really the beauty of it too is, you know, some of these alts are going to die. They're going to go to zero. I mean, but you're diversified.
I would show you my my Bitterx sheet. I mean, I've got like 2 or 3 pages of dead coins there, even with this crazy account value. So I'm perfectly fine with letting these riding the Bitterx delisting roller coaster. It's fun. You just never know what the fuck's gonna happen. And sometimes with these delistings, I've actually done this where I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna delist it. I gotta get the fuck out of there, right? And then the day of the damn delisting, the stock just goes fucking crazy.
Yep, the developers will freak out and I literally pour their life savings into it to save it.
And I had like 2 or 3 sell half on the double orders that would have been filled, and of course that would have made up for any losses incurred anywhere else. So in a weird sort of way, I don't mind playing the game, and I also don't mind going through the delisting events. So, obviously, if you do own the coins, it can be traumatic, especially if you're relatively new to this space. And if anything, guys, this is exactly why we do the little old lady, because this is venture capital. You don't know who the winners and the losers are going to be. I just want to own a little bit of everything and participate in the entire spectrum.
That's the thing. Be long crypto.
Yeah, I'm and basically, Will can attest to this. From day one that we've done these shows, that's been my message. I don't know whether I want to be long any one particular coin. I want to be long crypto. I want to own this space.
I can attest to that for sure. And I mean, there's been times too when alts are dead, and
well, I mean, even through the winter.
Seems like you should be wavering, but Brian, you've always said that even through the dark times.
Yeah, I mean, through the shit. What is Brian doing? Brian was buy, right?
Buying when they're crying.
Some people were going, this guy's nuts. But, I guess I've been through this washing machine so many times. I don't really see anything new here. What I actually see is that this process is actually very normal. Look at this ETH. Are we going to break out here?
Oh,
I'm stunned at this. I'm absolutely stunned by this.
Likewise. Because I was saying in the last show is like, there's a lot of bearish fundamentals on Ethereum with all these ICOs. They're all holding multitudes of what they raised now, because Ethereum is what they raised, and now that's worth double or triple in terms of fiat value.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And I mean, the long and short of it here is, I think that, and this is kind of what we have to expect. I know people are like, there's no bloody way Dash is going to go to $1 billion here. Well, I hate to tell you guys, in Wall Street, $1 billion, they fucking throw that around over lunchtime, right? And $1 billion is nothing to this space.
One of the primary financiers for Dash is Roger Ver, so maybe he's on a rage pump right now. He's like, you know what? If Bitcoin's not going to be my coin, then Dash will.
Maybe. I have a slight crush on Amanda, so I always chalk it up the rally to her.
I always got to bring up Amanda every show.
Oh, of course. No. I mean, you can't have a conversation about Dash without having Amanda in there somewhere.
Well, she still is very interested in the space as a whole. Like her stick of what is that? The currency competition is good for the space. it was very telling. It's kind of sad to see her throw her hat with one coin, but
well,
yeah,
I would
overall.
say, and somebody even on Twitter mentioned this today. We all need to appreciate this is really important, guys. Everybody watching this. This kind of move is not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't go and fucking bet the farm and go long Dash up here. That's just asking for trouble. And, to give you a couple good examples, we played cannabis coin through this insanity. These coins do this. This is what venture capital does. But don't fall in love with this thing because it's probably going to have to come right back down. Right? Remember that. In fact, one that's taken off recently, VTC, I think. Vertcoin, you guys remember this one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We played this move. Same thing. Making lots of money. Don't fall in love with it because it's probably going to have to come right back down to the bottom. All right? So, probably not a bad note to leave on. Dash is in the spotlight right now. How high does it go? It's anybody's guess. If anything, this is the reason why I still have on double, and so I'm always in this story. I still got lots of Dash to spoon feed the market every time it doubles. But if anything, new people to investing, if this is the top, and I'm not sure if it is or not, but if it is, then guess where I'm going to be working my bids to buy this thing back. And what a coincidence. All that's going to be is just a revisit of the top of the old range here. All right? So ironically enough, I'm actually getting my orders ready to buy Dash back right back at the original breakout. So, probably a good note to end the show on today. Don't fall in love with these things. When the market affords you the opportunity, get paid. That's what we're here to do. You're here to make money from trading. So when this happens, for God's sakes, ring the goddamn cash register. All right, I've said my piece.
Good deal. Well, on that note, I'll give my spiel. If you guys like the charts and analysis here, check out Coinigy.com. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you'll be notified of future shows. And I'll turn it over to Brian.
Oh, no. Take a sip of coffee.
Yeah, sorry. I'll turn it over to Alex.
Okay, there you go.
All right. I am the host of Blocktalk. If you go to youtube.com/Blocktalk, you'll find my channel.
Great show. Everybody watching, that's a really good show.
Excellent.
We try and give you as much information as you can absorb. Like if you're a sponge, you'll love the show because we dump it on you. I'm looking for new guests. If you guys have any projects that you'd love to learn more about, maybe what we talked about tonight, shoot the dev a message and send them my way. I'm block_talk on Twitter, and you know what? I love talking to any project. I give them a fair shake. If it's good, it's bad. We'll kind of give them an audience and let them kind of say their spiel. And then I'm also the community manager, and I'm not sure what my official title is for Ubic, the company, but I will be doing a presentation in 2 weeks' time, so I might not be on the next show. We'll see. I'll maybe do a remote call and
we'll play it by ear.
Yeah. And we just launched at the start of the show on Cryptopia. We're also on Bittrex. Check out either of those markets. The books are filling up pretty good on Cryptopia, and I appreciate you guys not vandalizing the chart. And thank you very much.
But did you guys ever merge the Jumbucks and the UBQ charts? Because I really think to really fully understand.
The community voted for us to keep them separate.
If you really want the data, isn't it for sale? Wink, not judge.
Look at this.
The data is technically for sale, but we could technically probably merge them. If you guys really wanted it. Community voted on Twitter, but who knows who really voted?
I can understand people that aren't sort of gnarly old traders like me that are just like, no, we want to just leave it pristine and on its own. But for a guy like me, the data of Jumbox actually explains what's going on with UBQ right now. So.
Now, Brian, would you be in the vote to have it amended, or amended divided by 10 for the swap rate, like the stock split, whatever you want to call it, or yeah, just have it purely added on, even though you're going to have that massive gap and these different pricings. Like, what do you think?
Well, it should be apples to apples. So whatever the restructured vehicle, both
So then that would
assets
be
have to
divided by
the-
10, essentially.
They have to be the same asset, right?
Yep.
So don't merge two different assets, right? So just make sure that they're the same asset.
Maybe we can run another poll, and Alex, you can really rally the troops. And
Well, but I can
Yes,
understand a lot of people in the community really aren't that interested, right? It's just old gnarly traders like me. I want to see that old price history. So
yeah, I think the real solution should be, we should give you guys the option to basically input 2 symbols on Coinigy and kind of put them back to back.
Mm-hmm.
that would be kind of
That
cool.
is something that we've been wanting to do, is the ability to kind of like divide one symbol by another and that kind of thing too. So
Yeah. That because I know that was one of the comments on the poll was I'd like to be able to switch it on and off, or to be
Yep.
able to view it but not have that be the default.
Yeah. Well, so there you go. All right.
Yeah.
I probably totally interrupted. I'm sorry, Alex. You want to
Okay.
finish your spiel? Go for
Let's
it.
hear your spiel, Brian.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just a gnarly old trader, right?
Veteran of the stock market.
Pardon me?
Veteran of the stock market.
Well, ironically enough, actually, I did more business in the commodities and options markets. Mind you, I was a stockbroker for many, many years. And actually, the good part about crypto is that I believe, and altcoins, is I believe there's just so many similarities between the venture cap market and the altcoin market. So in a weird sort of way, a lot of the tools, a lot of the strategies that I implemented as a broker are directly transferable, and I think they've really helped my community. And like I said, I mean, you know what the best feeling in this world is taking people that are really struggling, and within 3 or 4 months, get them to the point where they're starting to make money in the market, and they feel confident, and they believe they can understand what they're seeing and put price into context. Oh, it's the best feeling in the world, I swear. So I'm like totally validated. The whole reason why I did this site, every single day when I wake up, I get to participate in this community, and it's just like so awesome. We run it, speaking of which, we run a site, and I was touting tonight our wonderful performance of our altcoin trading account. Just doing, and please understand, audience, when you saw those outlandish numbers, this is like a ridiculously low risk approach to investing. No one position that we own represents more than 5% risk to our portfolio, other than, I suppose, our Bitcoin holdings. And it's very slow and steady wins the race. But what it really is it's very contrarian. So when other people are excited, we're probably selling and taking profits into those events. When everybody else is really depressed and sanguine, that's probably when you're going to find Brian in there buying. So, and the great part about it, like the name, Little Old Lady, it's actually designed for people that really don't want to watch the screen 24/7. So, if you are, interested in the space and you're interested in the technology, but you're an accountant, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, whatever, you've got a life, right? You can't look at the screen 24/7. This is the kind of approach that really works well for those people. So we do have an education program. Unfortunately, most of the seats are gone for this spring term. But I suppose if you pop on the site and you talk to me really sweetly, I might sneak you in there. I'm pleased to report 2 months ahead of the term, the seats are basically all gone. So I'm really, really jazzed about that. We also we've started a new program on the site. We have a half-hour video daily show. So I've noticed recently, since we started the half-hour show, basically it's like a little sitcom, but in essence, people absolutely love it, and it's a great way for us to interact, because kind of like with these hangouts, basically every single day, all the site people pile into a hangout, and we all just shoot the shit for half an hour and look at charts. So lots and lots of value at the site. We're educating people. We're creating some really awesome traders. And we're all participating in this wonderful crypto story. It's totally awesome. Win-win for everybody. So there's my
like
spiel. TheRationalInvestor.co if you want to pop on over.
Right on. Okay. Well, on that note, seems like the dog barking has stopped in the background here, finally.
Yeah, where's the exit music? What the hell?
Yeah, can you guys get
yeah,
some tunes playing on here, or what?
We had some cool theme music. You remember when we used to have theme music? That was fun.
Yeah, we got to figure out how to do that again. The transition was never really well handled.
It was very hard on you, I remember. Maybe
Anyways.
All right, I'll shut up. I keep talking too much, so I'm
Great
done.
time. Make sure you guys tune in for the next one and like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz.
Yep. Oh, there's the dog. There we go.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.